There is a secret that has been hidden in plain sight. A truth so simple that most overlook it, yet it carries the power to change your entire life in a single night. What if I told you that before you close your eyes tonight, you could perform a simple inner act that would rearrange your world and align it with riches, opportunities, blessings, and abundance? What if I told you that as you lay in bed, drifting between wakefulness and sleep, you stand at the doorway of creation, holding in your hands the very key that shapes your reality? The truth is, you already possess this power. You've always possessed it. But until you learn how to direct it, life seems random, chaotic, uncertain. Once you understand, however, you will realize that nothing in your life is accidental. Everything is the mirror of your imagination. The secret lies in what you do just before you sleep. The last thoughts, the final feelings, the images you let play in your mind before you surrender to the night, are seeds dropped into the fertile soil of your subconscious. And those seeds must grow. They cannot be denied. The subconscious does not argue. It does not question. It accepts. It takes the mood in which you enter sleep and expresses it in the outer world. That is why every master, every mystic, every enlightened soul has pointed to the same principle: change your inner state and your outer life will conform. The truest, fastest way to do this is in the sacred moment before you drift off to sleep. Think of it this way: the outer world is nothing but the shadow of your inner world. If you fall asleep rehearsing lack, poverty, worry, or struggle, you are planting those seeds. And though you may not want them, they will appear in your waking life, for the soil of your subconscious does not differentiate between what you desire and what you fear. It brings forth whatever is impressed most deeply upon it. That is why so many live lives of repetition, repeating the same patterns, the same financial struggles, the same cycles of fear. They go to sleep rehearsing the same story of failure and wake to live it again. But you, if you choose differently tonight, can end that cycle forever. You must learn to deliberately plant a new seed. Instead of rehearsing the story of lack, create within your imagination the scene of wealth already yours. Imagine, just for a few moments before sleep, what it feels like to be rich, abundant, prosperous. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Imagine the relief in your heart when you know the bills are paid, the joy of opening your bank account and seeing overflowing numbers, the laughter of sharing with others, the freedom to move as you wish, buy what you desire, live how you dream. See it in vivid detail, but more importantly, feel it, because your subconscious responds not to empty words, but to the feeling behind them. If you can create the feeling of wealth, your subconscious will accept it as real, and your world will reshape itself to reflect that truth. Do not make the mistake of asking how. That is not your role. The how belongs to the unseen intelligence, the infinite wisdom that governs all things. Your only task is to feel it real, to live in imagination as though it were already yours. For imagination is not some idle fantasy. It is the creative power of life itself. What you accept as real in imagination will harden into fact in your waking world. So tonight, when you lay your head on the pillow, do not drift off in random thought. Take control of this sacred gateway. Close your eyes and step into the life you desire, as though it were already yours. Suppose you want to wake up rich in 24 hours. What does that mean to you? Does it mean money arriving unexpectedly, an opportunity appearing, debts being erased, new clients calling, or even a gift falling into your hands? Do not limit yourself. Wealth can arrive in countless ways. Your job is not to define the channel, but to accept the state. Feel the inner certainty. I am rich, I am prosperous, I live in abundance now. See yourself handling money, giving money, enjoying money. Hear the voice of a loved one congratulating you. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the freedom. Let that be the last mood upon which you close your eyes. As you drift into sleep, remain in that feeling. If you fall asleep in the state of wealth, the subconscious cannot deny it. Within 24 hours, life must begin to reflect that change. You may think this is too simple. How could it be so easy? But understand, life itself is simple. We complicate it with effort, struggle and doubt, believing that hard work alone brings wealth. But true riches flow from consciousness, and consciousness is molded by imagination. All the money you will ever need, all the opportunities, all the blessings, they already exist, waiting to be claimed. By assuming the state of wealth tonight, you open the door through which they must enter. Let me remind you of something powerful. Every outer possession, every fortune, every dollar in existence was first created in the unseen. Before it appeared in physical form, it lived in imagination. The skyscraper was first an image in the architect's mind. The invention was first a dream in the inventor's inner world. The fortune was first a desire, accepted as real by the one who held it. Your wealth is no different. It already exists in the unseen, waiting for you to align with it. And the easiest time to align with it is in the state between waking and sleeping, when the subconscious is most open, most impressionable, most obedient. So tonight, let your imagination become the rehearsal of your wealth. Refuse to go to sleep in worry. Refuse to let the last thing you feel be lack. Instead, step into the abundance that is already yours. Live it inwardly, and trust the outer world to conform. If you do this faithfully, with sincerity and persistence, you will be astonished at how quickly riches begin to manifest in your life. For the law is perfect and unfailing. What you accept as true within will one day stand before you without. When I say riches, understand it is not only money, though money will certainly come. Riches are a state of freedom, a condition of mind, where you no longer feel bound by limitation. To be rich is to walk with the quiet confidence that everything you need comes to you at the right moment. To be rich is to live in the awareness that opportunities are endless, that doors open where none seem to exist, that life itself bends to your inner conviction. When you master this inner act before sleep, you align yourself with that truth, and the external must bow to it. Think of how often you have fallen asleep rehearsing troubles. You lay in bed worrying about tomorrow, replaying the mistakes of yesterday, calculating how bills will be paid, doubting whether you will ever succeed. You sink into sleep with a heavy heart, and then wake up only to face the same conditions, multiplied. This is not coincidence. It is law. The subconscious magnifies what it receives. If you give it fear, it will produce experiences that justify fear. If you give it lack, it will create more lack. But if you give it abundance, it must create abundance. If you fall asleep in the state of wealth, the next day must bring circumstances that mirror wealth. Tonight, as you prepare to sleep, imagine yourself in the life you desire. If your desire is to wake up rich, let that be the movie you play in your mind. Perhaps you see yourself opening an email with unexpected funds deposited. Perhaps you imagine a friend calling to share good news, or a letter arriving with a check. Perhaps you see yourself holding a stack of bills, feeling the crispness of the notes, laughing with gratitude. Do not merely see the picture, feel the reality. Allow yourself to feel the certainty, the satisfaction, the gratitude of it already done. Remain in that feeling until sleep claims you. Do not argue with it. Do not let doubt creep in with questions of how or when. The soil does not ask how the seed will grow. It simply brings forth the tree in its season. Your subconscious is the soil, and imagination is the seed. What you plant before sleep you will harvest upon waking. This is why some of the greatest lives ever lived were not born of endless striving, but of quiet conviction. They knew the secret inner assumption creates outer fact. Wealth is not earned through sweat alone, but through consciousness. You can labor endlessly, but if inwardly you accept yourself as poor, you will only maintain poverty. Conversely, you can rest in the assurance of wealth inwardly, and life will deliver opportunities beyond your effort. This does not mean you will not act, but rather that your actions will be guided by inspiration, leading to results far beyond what ordinary struggle could achieve. Tonight you have the chance to prove it for yourself. Do not take my words as mere philosophy. Test them, for truth does not fear being tested. Lay down tonight and enter into the state of wealth. Refuse to allow the old story of lack to accompany you into sleep. It may try to cling to you, but you must let it go. Replace it with the new story. Replace it with the feeling of riches already attained. If you persist, you will discover that in as little as 24 hours, life begins to shift. You will find money arriving from sources you did not expect, calls coming at the right time, gifts appearing as if by magic, or sudden inspirations that lead to financial breakthrough. The world calls this coincidence, but you will know it as law. You will know that it was not random, but the direct result of your inner work. Once you prove this to yourself, you will never again doubt the power you hold. You will recognize that every night is an opportunity to remake your world. Each time you close your eyes, you have the chance to plant new seeds, and the more you practice, the more natural it becomes, until wealth, abundance, and freedom are not fleeting experiences, but your permanent state of being. So do not think of this as a ritual to try once. Think of it as the way of life. Make it your habit to fall asleep only in states that you desire. Train yourself to refuse any final thought that contradicts your wealth. Even if during the day you are faced with challenges, when the night comes, use that sacred threshold to realign with abundance. For the state in which you enter sleep will always outweigh the events of the day. It will always shape your tomorrow. You must remember, wealth is not outside you. It does not come from chance, luck, or even effort alone. It begins and ends within you. The entire universe is but a mirror reflecting your assumptions. Change the assumption, and the mirror must change. This is the simplicity of creation, and it is why before you sleep is the most powerful moment of your day. It is the moment when you can rewrite your destiny. Imagine then the joy of knowing that every night you hold in your hands the pen that writes tomorrow's story. Tonight write the story of riches. Write it not with ink, but with feet. Let the page of your subconscious be filled with the words, I am rich, I am abundant, I am free. And when you wake, you will find the outer world reading back to you the very story you wrote.
Do this faithfully, and you will see that the very air around you begins to change. People will treat you differently. Opportunities will flow, and money will seem to find its way into your life with ease. It will not feel forced. It will not feel like struggle. It will feel natural, inevitable, as though it had always been waiting for you to claim it. And that is the truth. Your wealth has always been here, awaiting your recognition. The moment you step into the feeling of it, you step into alignment with it, and then it can no longer be hidden from you. Perhaps you have tried affirmations before, speaking words with no real change. Perhaps you have worked tirelessly, yet seen little result. The missing key has always been this: you must feel it real in the silence before sleep. Words alone will not convince the subconscious. They must be clothed in feeling. You must fall asleep not merely saying, I am rich, but feeling the security, the joy, the gratitude of wealth, as though it were already done. This is the art of assumption. This is the gateway through which all miracles pass. When you understand this, you will see why sleep is so powerful. In waking hours, the mind is busy, distracted, filled with doubts, reasoning, logic, questions. But as you drift into sleep, the conscious mind grows quiet, and the subconscious becomes dominant. It is in that in-between place, that twilight of consciousness, where the veil is thin, that you can impress the deepest truths upon yourself. If you use this moment wisely, there is nothing you cannot create. If you neglect it, you will unconsciously plant seeds of fear, worry, and lack, and wonder why they grow so quickly in your life. So tonight, and every night, take hold of your imagination as you drift towards sleep. Do not let it wander aimlessly. Direct it, guide it. Choose the scene you wish to live tomorrow, and live it in advance. If your desire is wealth, let every detail be filled with the reality of being wealthy. See the lifestyle, feel the gratitude, hear the sounds of congratulations and joy. Do this until it feels natural, until it feels real, until you can drift off in that mood without effort. And then when you wake, live your day with quiet expectancy. Do not strain, do not force, simply expect. Expect that life is aligning to deliver to you what you have already accepted. Expect that wealth is on its way, and more importantly, that it is already yours in the unseen. Move through your day with the confidence of one who is already rich, because the truth is, once assumed inwardly, it must be expressed outwardly. In time you will look back and realize that everything began to change the moment you took control of that final thought before sleep. You will see that riches did not come because you fought harder, but because you dared to believe more deeply. You will see that wealth was not outside, waiting for years of toil, but inside, waiting for you to assume it.
And all of it began with that one simple act, the inner choice you made as you lay down at night. This is the power you hold. This is the secret that can transform your life in a single day. Tonight you will prove it. Tonight, as you close your eyes, you will refuse to let any thought of lack linger. You will clothe yourself in riches. You will feel yourself abundant. You will surrender to sleep in that state. And when you open your eyes tomorrow, you will see that the world has already begun to reflect it. As you practice this each night, you will notice how quickly it becomes natural. At first you may feel resistance, for the old story of lack will try to cling to you, whispering doubts, reminding you of present circumstances. But remember, circumstances are nothing more than past assumptions solidified. They are shadows of old beliefs. You owe them no loyalty. They cannot dictate what you are now choosing to assume. The moment you shift inwardly, the old reality begins to dissolve. No matter how solid it appears, you are never bound by yesterday. You are free to create a new tonight and every night. The power of this practice lies in repetition, for repetition impresses the subconscious more deeply than occasional effort. Night after night, as you fall asleep rich in imagination, you are building the foundation of wealth in reality. Do not underestimate the quiet consistency of this act. Just as water, drop by drop, can carve stone, so your nightly assumptions will carve out the path of your fortune. You may not see it fully at first, but soon the evidence will become undeniable. Opportunities will appear where none existed. People will come into your life bearing gifts, ideas, or connections that lead to riches. Situations will rearrange themselves with perfect timing. And when these things happen, remember that they are not accidents. They are not luck. They are the inevitable unfolding of what you planted in the unseen. They are the fruits of your imagination. This is why you must guard carefully what you imagine, especially before sleep. For just as wealth can be created, so can poverty be perpetuated. Every night you hold the keys to your future. Every night you decide what kind of tomorrow will be born. The beauty of this truth is that you need not wait years for results. You need not struggle endlessly. The moment you assume wealth inwardly, the process begins, and life must reflect it. That is why many who practice this sincerely report changes within a day, unexpected money, sudden offers, surprising gifts. The outer world rushes to mirror the inner change, and though larger manifestations may unfold over time, the shift begins instantly. You will know it by the peace you feel, by the joy that wells up even before outer evidence arrives. That inner peace is itself proof that the seed has been planted, and the harvest is certain. So tonight, as you lie down, remember that you are not merely ending a day, you are beginning a new creation. The world you will walk into tomorrow depends entirely on the state you accept as real tonight. Choose wisely. Choose abundance. Choose wealth. Choose to feel, to know, to rest in the assurance that you are already rich. And as this becomes your nightly practice, you will discover a new rhythm to life. You will no longer chase wealth desperately, for wealth will chase you. You will no longer worry about money, for money will come as naturally as the sunrise. You will no longer feel powerless, for you will know the source of all power lies within you. You will notice that as wealth becomes your inner nature, everything else in your life begins to shift along with it. Relationships take on a new harmony, because you are no longer relating from lack but from fullness. Health improves, because worry is replaced with calm assurance. Even time itself seems to expand, for when you are no longer enslaved by financial anxiety, you discover freedom in every direction. This is the hidden gift of assuming riches inwardly. It does not stop at money. It transforms the whole of your being. Each night, as you drift into that sacred borderland of sleep, you are entering the workshop of creation. You are stepping into the realm where the unseen is woven into form. It is here in this stillness, where all riches are born. And the simplest, most profound act you can do is to feel yourself already possessing what you desire. That feeling is the blueprint. It is the pattern your subconscious will use to shape tomorrow. Perhaps you think, but how can I feel wealthy when my outer world contradicts it? That is the great secret. You do not wait for the outer to change before you assume the inner. The outer is the shadow, the reflection. It cannot change until the inner changes first. You must dare to feel rich when there is no sign of riches. You must dare to feel abundant when the world tells you otherwise. That daring act is faith. Faith is not hoping. Faith is assuming.
Faith is stepping into the unseen with such conviction that the seen has no choice but to catch up. Every night, as you rehearse wealth in imagination, you are training your senses to accept a new reality. The more real it becomes inwardly, the faster it appears outwardly. And soon you will find that you no longer need to force belief, for it will feel natural. Wealth will become your inner default, and once that happens, outer wealth must follow. For the world cannot resist the command of a mind convinced. So let tonight be the night you begin. Lay your head down, close your eyes, and leave behind the story of lack. Step boldly into the story of riches. Walk in imagination through the halls of your wealthy life. Sit at the table of abundance. Count the money in your hands. Hear the congratulations of friends. Feel the relief and joy that come with knowing you are provided for. And as you sink into sleep, let that feeling wrap around you like a warm blanket. Sleep in it, breathe in it, become one with it, and tomorrow you will rise into a world that reflects it. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes to walk through the day as if you were already the person you chose to be in imagination the night before. Soon you will not even need to remind yourself, for wealth will feel as natural as breathing. You will look back on the days when you worried about money and wonder how you could have believed in lack so strongly, when abundance was always within your reach. It will feel almost like waking from a dream, for the old life of limitation will seem distant, unreal, as though it belonged to someone else entirely. Night by night, you will discover that the moments before sleep are not empty, but sacred. They are the bridge between worlds, the doorway between the seen and the unseen, and you are the traveler who decides what to carry through that doorway. If you carry fear, fear is multiplied. If you carry doubt, doubt expands. But if you carry wealth, wealth multiplies. If you carry joy, joy expands. If you carry certainty, certainty builds a foundation so strong that nothing can shake it. And as your world reshapes itself, you will realize that you are not waiting for money to arrive. You are living as money itself. You become the embodiment of wealth, the magnet through which riches must flow. People will sense it in you. They will feel drawn to your confidence, to your presence, to your calm assurance. Without a word you will influence others, for wealth is a vibration, and once you dwell in it, it cannot be hidden. The world will mirror back to you the state you occupy, and all of it will trace back to the simple act you performed in the silence before sleep. This is why the wise guard their final thoughts so carefully. They know that the last impression of the day becomes the seed of tomorrow. They refuse to end the day in fear. They refuse to surrender to sleep while rehearsing failure. Instead, they deliberately, consciously, lovingly plant the seeds of abundance, freedom, joy, and riches. And because they do this, their lives blossom in ways that others call miraculous. But there is no miracle here, only law. The miracle is simply that more people do not yet use it.
You, however, know now. You know the secret of the threshold. You know the power of assumption before sleep. And as you continue, night after night, you will move from small demonstrations to great ones. What begins as unexpected money in small amounts will grow into vast opportunities, greater fortunes, lasting prosperity. The law does not know size. It only knows the feeling you assume. Whether you imagine $1 or $1 million, it is all the same to the subconscious. Only your own belief places limits. Remove those limits, and you will see that infinite riches are yours to command. As you persist in this practice, the line between imagination and reality will begin to blur. What you once thought of as fantasy will start to feel solid, tangible, inevitable. You will walk through the day with the quiet, knowing that what you claimed the night before is already yours, and that knowing will color your every action, your every word, your every choice. You will no longer approach life from desperation, but from fullness. You will no longer wait for permission from the world, because you will have already granted yourself permission within. The shift will be so subtle at first that you may not notice it, but others will. They will look at you and sense something has changed. They will see a light in your eyes, a certainty in your step, a calmness in your presence. They may not know what has happened, but they will feel it, and many will be drawn to it. For people are naturally drawn to those who live in the energy of abundance. You will become a living magnet for wealth, not because you chase it, but because you embody it. And when money comes, and it will,
You will recognize it not as the source of your wealth, but as the evidence of it. True wealth is the state you assumed before it arrived. The money, the opportunities, the gifts. These are merely the shadows, the reflections of what you already accepted in the unseen. This is why you must always return to the inner act, for it is the fountain from which all outer things flow. Do not concern yourself with how long it will take, or how it will happen. Time itself bends to assumption. Circumstances rearrange themselves with astonishing speed when you refuse to doubt. You will find that things which once seemed impossible unfold with perfect ease, as if the universe itself delights in delivering them to you. And in truth it does. For the universe is nothing more than your own expanded being, responding to the command you gave it in imagination. So tonight, once again, as you prepare for sleep, take hold of this power. Refuse to let the noise of the day dictate your final thoughts. Strip away every appearance of lack, every whisper of fear, every shadow of doubt. Enter instead into the certainty of riches. Feel yourself abundant, overflowing, prosperous beyond measure. Breathe it in until it saturates every part of you. Then surrender to sleep in that state, and let the subconscious bring forth its perfect expression. And each night that follows, repeat this sacred act. Let it become your way of life, until wealth is no longer something you seek, but something you are. Then you will see with your own eyes that what was once a hidden secret is in fact the most natural law of existence. Assume it within, and it must appear without. Soon you will marvel at how effortless life becomes when you live from this inner certainty. Things that once felt like uphill battles will unfold smoothly, as though unseen hands were arranging every step for your benefit. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, hearing the right words. What the world calls chance, you will know as the outpicturing of your inner choice. What the world calls luck, you will recognize as law. Every night will feel like stepping into a new beginning. No matter what the day brought, no matter what challenges arose, you will know that the final word belongs to you. For as you close your eyes, you can strip away the old story and choose again. You can cast off the garments of limitation and clothe yourself in abundance. And when you do, you give the subconscious its orders, and it obeys with unfailing loyalty. In time you will learn to cherish this moment before sleep more than any other, for it is here that you truly shape your destiny. It is here that you wield the brush that paints the canvas of tomorrow. And once you have proven this to yourself again and again, you will never again feel at the mercy of life. You will know that life is at the mercy of your assumption. And as this realization deepens, gratitude will pour out of you effortlessly. You will find yourself giving thanks not only for the wealth that arrives, but for the power within you that made it possible. Gratitude itself will become another seed you plant before sleep, and in turn it will multiply, bringing even greater abundance. For the more grateful you feel, the more reasons life will give you to feel grateful. You will see that this is not a trick, not a gimmick, not a fleeting technique, but the very structure of reality. You will see that all along, you were the author, and the world was simply reading back to you the script you had written within. And in that moment you will no longer ask, can I truly become rich overnight? Instead you will ask, what else can I create, now that I know the key? As you keep walking in this way, the boundaries of what you once thought possible will begin to dissolve. Where once you imagined only modest gains, you will now dare to picture greater fortunes, greater freedom, greater experiences. The imagination that once played small will stretch itself, reaching higher, expanding wider, claiming more. And as you accept more within, more will pour into your life without. For there is no ceiling except the one you build in thought, and the moment you take it down, the sky itself opens to you. You will begin to notice how your senses respond differently. Where once you looked at the world and saw lack, you will now see opportunity. Where once you felt anxiety at the thought of bills, you will now feel calm assurance that money flows easily to you. Where once you heard the voice of doubt, you will now hear the voice of certainty, guiding you gently, quietly, surely. This is the transformation that happens when wealth becomes your inner state. It colors every perception. It shifts every interpretation. It bends every experience to match it. The practice will become second nature. At first you may remind yourself to imagine before sleep, to hold the feeling of riches, but with repetition it will be as natural as breathing. You will no longer force yourself to feel wealthy, you will simply know it. And from that knowing, the outer world cannot help but rearrange itself. People will offer you things you did not ask for. Opportunities will chase you down. Money will arrive in streams that surprise even you. And still you will not be surprised, for inwardly you have already lived it. And when others ask you your secret, you will smile. For how could you explain that it was never the struggle, never the effort, but always the inner act performed in silence before sleep? How could you explain that the riches they see are only the shadow, while the real treasure was the feeling you claimed inwardly? Yet those with ears to hear will understand, and perhaps they too will begin to plant new seeds each night, and their lives will blossom as yours has. As your faith in this inner act strengthens, you will come to see that even the smallest detail of your life bends to it. A chance conversation leads to unexpected wealth. A door you never considered suddenly opens. A delayed opportunity arrives precisely when you are ready to receive it. Nothing will feel accidental anymore. You will trace every thread back to the moment you lay in bed and claim the state of riches as your own. You will see that the unseen hand moving the pieces was none other than your own imagination at work. The joy of this realization will only make you more eager to practice. You will look forward to the quiet of night, not as an end to the day, but as the true beginning of tomorrow. You will treat the moment before sleep as sacred, for you will know its power. And each night, as you repeat the act of feeling yourself rich, the roots of wealth sink deeper into the soil of your subconscious, until no outer storm can uproot them. You will laugh at how the world once convinced you that riches were rare, that only a few could hold them, that they came only through struggle or chance. Or you will see now that wealth is as natural as breath, and it was never about deserving or earning. It was always about assuming. You assume it and it is so. You neglect to assume it and it remains hidden. The choice was always yours. And once you taste this freedom, you will never again surrender it. You will never again let the day dictate the night. No matter what appearances surround you, you will hold firmly to the inner truth before sleep. And because of this, appearances themselves will bend, obeying the command of your inner conviction. So tonight, do not treat sleep as something ordinary. Treat it as the gateway through which your future is born. Refuse to go to bed carrying the weight of lack, fear, or limitation. Instead, clothe yourself in riches, in freedom, in abundance, and surrender to the night as though it were already yours. For the truth is this: what you assume as real in those final moments will become your tomorrow. Choose wisely, for you are the master of your destiny, the author of your fortune, the silent creator of your world. And if you will dare to assume wealth before sleep, you will wake to a life that can only mirror that wealth back to you. The key has always been in your hands. Now use it, and watch how quickly the universe rushes to obey the command of your imagination.